takes up space. It doesn't affect the time at all.
All
Yep.
right.
Okay.
Okay. It's recording. I don't know where, in my computer somewhere.
We'll
Some
find it.
file.
We have ways of doing that.
Right.
All right,
We'll
Wyndham
search it.
Regional Commission Finance Committee is in order. First item of business, approval of the April 24th minutes. I'll look for a motion.
So moved.
And I will second it as chair since there's just us and the chickens. Anything else on that? If not, I'll call for a vote. Those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, crickets again. Motion has been passed. Financial reporting for FY24, April the 1st through June the 30th. Anessa?
Yes. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. We had a very good quarter. We ended up with a positive amount of a little over $10,000. At the same time, we within this quarter, we completed 4 projects in town, technical assistance, and 4 hazard mitigation plans, which were, probably an effort of a year and a half or 2 years of work. So overall, the income was a little bit less compared to the prior quarter, but anyway, we ended up with a positive number, which was great. And in your sheet, you have for the revenue expenditures. So if we compare for the last quarter, we gained about 14% in revenue. Overall, we are at 51%. For any questions about the income side?
I'm having a lot of trouble maintaining. I went all through these and I highlighted some things I actually had questions about, and now all of that has disappeared.
Oh,
I don't
sorry.
know what's going on here. Well, I'll talk to you maybe about it later. But one question I have, and I'm sorry to take up time with this, but you have your financial report, April 1 to June 30th, in landscape mode. Is there any, and you also have these documents sequenced as though they're all one document. Is there any way you could distribute these as separate documents?
Sure.
And not do the landscape vertically?
Yep, I can do that. And then you can rotate that, you know how to do it, right?
Well, how do I do that if it's part of another document?
So go to the one that is vertical.
Yeah.
And on your right, perhaps, side, there's like a bar. Make it bigger, make it smaller. And there's an arrow, like a
There's
circle.
no bar.
Okay.
There's no bar.
Try to do a right
Well,
click.
we don't need to solve this right now today. I'm just kind of asking for maybe in the future. And maybe if you and I need to have an offline conversation about how I should look at this stuff, I'd be happy to do that.
Okay, sorry about that. Somehow when I post them after our meeting to the website, Ashley has more of, bigger, whatever, more powerful PDF, and she actually rotates proper way. I don't know how she does it, but it works on her computer.
Maybe then just if we need to get you different software, and so let's do that.
Yeah.
And have
Yeah.
you gotta do that.
Yeah, but I can scan them, separately, and they would come out, I'm sure, properly. Yep. Okay.
Okay. I'm
Yep.
sorry. I'm taking time on
No,
not
it's
very
okay.
consequential stuff.
That's all right.
So what document are we looking at now? That's part of my problem here.
Do you want
Yes.
to share it on the screen, Anessa?
Sure. Everybody sees it?
Yes.
Make it bigger. So this is the one that came to you as a vertically.
Can you zoom in a bit more, Anessa? Maybe fill up the screen a bit more. There you go.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yes. More
Is it
better. Thank you.
better? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oops.
Oh,
All
I keep
right.
trying to scroll it and I can't do it.
I know. It's me in control. Here's
Yes,
the whole
yes,
thing.
yes. And you know, I don't like being not in control, so.
Right. So this is the whole
Yep.
document. So this is like a P&L, revenue and expenditures, and then at
So
the
this is,
bottom,
and this is for 3/4 of the year, correct?
right? Yep. So this is only current for this year, and actually I had one more invoice, so it brought to 10,000 at the end at the bottom line.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then here from the year beginning of the year to June 30th
Date, yeah.
overall. Yep. So the one that came correctly now because I rotated. So this is here's my tool, and I rotate, and rotate, and here is the balance sheet that we have.
Okay, here
So
was one of my questions.
yeah.
We have in a checking savings account at M&T, $270,000.
Mm-hmm.
Are we earning interest on that?
Not really. There is not much.
Well,
There's nothing.
can
But
I
I guess
suggest,
she's asking, I think, and is it an interest-bearing checking account?
Yeah, I don't think so.
okay, that is way too much cash to not be doing some work for us, in my
Well,
opinion.
right.
So,
We did not finish our quarter yet. We still have, a few payrolls to come and a few bills to pay. So my estimation for the end of September, we would be right, enough, but it won't be that much left.
But Ann, I think you're asking, should Anessa look into an interest-bearing checking account at a minimum?
not necessarily, that's still pretty low interest. I don't know, where are you banking? Oh, M&T.
M&T, yep.
Find out if we just did this for DV Fiber we did it through KeyBank.
Mm-hmm.
They have a process where they literally sweep the cash out.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing about that 270, it exceeds the FDIC safe 250,000.
Mm-hmm. And we
If
have
something
we have a protection. We have an agreement with them. I receive
Okay.
every
Oh,
month.
okay.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
But I wonder if you couldn't take a look to see if there's some way we couldn't maximize better interest on that cash ongoing. So that's all I would just put out there.
Mhm.
That's a lot of cash to be sitting around not doing a lot of work.
Okay.
Tim, do you agree with that? Just so,
I can barely hear anything here, Chris. I need to turn up my system a bit.
Turn it up you turn it down a little bit in the beginning.
Okay, somebody
Okay.
say something. It's been impossible to hear anything all through this.
So would
testing,
you like,
testing? Is that
Okay,
better?
that's a little better.
So Ann was asking Tim if, she was asking Anessa to look into opportunities to gain more interest, put the money to work when we have large quantities of money like that in a single account. So look at what options M&T might offer.
Yeah, that is a substantial number to see in a checking account. Mine's usually scraping zero, so it's
Thank God we're not.
yeah,
oh
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Thanks to
All right.
Chris, not
But there are
God.
some sophisticated ways to do that, and M&T is a
Mhm.
big enough bank that they
Mhm.
might have the ability to offer that to you. So
Mhm.
anyway,
Yeah, we
Just-
actually had a couple of representatives coming through last week. I met up with them, a new person, so I can reach out to them and see what they can do for us.
okay, thank you.
And scrolling down on balance sheet, do you have any other questions?
Hang on,
Liabilities now?
I do not.
no, and wherever I had them, and I no longer, whatever copy I had highlighted my questions on is
Mm.
gone. So
Yeah, this negative's just due to the dates.
Yeah.
The payments
no, I
went out.
figured,
Yeah.
yeah. I have no questions about that.
Okay. So I will stop sharing. You will have your screen out in your control. So with
All right.
the expenditures, we have payroll and fringe expenses going, accordingly. At the same time, we just hired a newly graduated intern, and he's actually transitioning. His name is Anand Fedal, and he's transitioning to a full-time planner assistant beginning of August. So we found him through the interview process, and he is, Chris, I believe, UMass UMass Amherst graduate. So he's a planner, wannabe a planner. So he has plenty of people to learn from and follow.
And it's a limited term position. The term is through September 2025, our new fiscal year. Then what I explained was we would revisit. We'll know what our budget is going to be, next August. So we'll revisit it with him then.
Right.
But we didn't want to make a long-term commitment. We got additional funding through ACCD, and we desperately needed like a planning assistant to work with the senior planners. We have a very much an inverted pyramid as far as like seniority. So we really need somebody to kind of help do the support work, so they're not spending they're not using their time and spending, very expensive hours on things that a planning assistant can do. So.
Yep. We had to purchase a laptop for him. Oh, excuse me. To sneeze. So
And
that
we have-
No, I was gonna say, you were saying, Anessa, he will have the needed support material to be able to do
Yeah.
the job?
we purchased a laptop for him because he's mostly remote work. He comes here once a week, but when he'll be full-time, maybe perhaps a little bit more, not sure. We'll work it out. So that's the only bigger expense we had in the last quarter.
Okay.
So
And so you both know, before we made the full-time offer to him, we had experience with him for a few weeks. Mike McConnell is his direct supervisor, our senior planner, Mike McConnell, and very impressed with his skill set, and also his ability to handle himself with supervision, of course, in a public meeting. So it was a trial run there before we made the offer. So
yeah, he proved himself. Yeah. All right. So that's the income statement and expenditures. If anybody have any questions, Mr. Chairman, we can move on to the next point.
If you please, go for it.
All right, so we have other financial matter, and we are here to review our draft of FY25 budget, and we need to come up with the recommendation recommended to the executive board, which will meet August 12th at 8 a.m. So we have a draft in front of you, right? You have the document. So we presented a very rough draft of it already to the executive board a couple of weeks ago. And right before that meeting, we actually had an email coming through from the ACCD with big update of our funding. So for the ACCD, it bumped up to close to $80,000 from what we were anticipating. And for Chris's findings, it looks like it was to support housing efforts and the Act 250 bill implementation. Yeah.
So does it come with a special targeted amount of money, or is this the traditional percentage of whatever that's never what it's supposed to be?
it's a one-time 80 for us. It's based on a formula, but for us, it's a one-time increase of around $80,000 to assist with the new Act 250 reform implementation and housing bills and other things. And mercifully, they're not telling us, in detail what we have to do. They're giving latitude to the regions to to do
Mhm.
that.
But it is just for 1 year?
Just
Okay.
as far as I know,
Okay.
I'm not banking on it, continuing.
Yeah, we
So,
don't have a grant agreement yet, so we don't see how they break it out. So far, it's just the one amount.
Vanessa, she's asking if the legislature is intending to do it, fund it for multiple years and.
That is my question, yeah.
Right,
We don't know that, so.
no,
We can assume it will be fought over.
I am assuming not. I am assuming I prefer we operate on the assumption it will not be renewed.
That's very smart.
All right, so if we just go through whatnot line by line, if you don't mind.
Vanessa, do you want, if you could put it back up again, that would be great.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's do that. Let's see
That would
here.
be helpful.
All right. So what you have in front of you is
Zoom
Re-
in.
revenue section first. And we estimated an increase by 4% for the town dues assessment. We looked through consumer index price, and that's what it come out to, very close to 4%. Then this is the new amount that came out from the ACCD email. And that's about it pretty much for this section for the general fund. Any questions? So please note some notes would belong to the prior year, you know, for the multi-year project. So if you have any questions about the notes, if they're confusing, just let me know. In town technical assistance, we have about 5 new hazard mitigation plans. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is here. So some of them will end, but some of them will be new to us in the future, probably in October. So it's coming up. And then some projects here will end. Some of them are multi-year projects. So what I've done, I removed amounts that already expensed and left what is anticipated. Worked with our planners, and they, you know, gave me these estimations. So this example, you know, it ended or will end 2024. So that's how much it's left in Londonderry. Like this example, it will end this year and nothing this year. So things like that. For grants and aid, we will have about 10 towns to work with. They renewed even those that we completed some. It's a supplemental work or something like that, supportive work that Jeff is doing with his team, and some of them will renew again, so that's good, a little bit of income. Town planning, we have this is a combination of these 3 towns, so they have an agreement with us. And as always, we have a little bit of cushion. Maybe something will come along over here. We don't know about that yet. So it seems like it's proving itself every year.
Okay.
So that's the total for the town plan. Is a little bit technical assistance. It's a little bit lower than that last year. So for the regional plan, we estimate brownfields, all kind of brownfields, and RLF, yeah, over here. We estimate that this amounts coming through to us. You know, please remember that not everything sells with us. We pay to vendors and then get reimbursed. So it's kind of like a wash. What settles with us is the labor, what is charged for Sue's efforts, Sue's work. The CDF is gone, so it's not in our budget this year.
What was the EDF?
It was a
May I ask?
clean energy fund.
Oh,
You know, it's
I guess.
So
we've moved on.
that was the last of that,
Yeah.
that's the
We-
last of that money?
Yeah, we even didn't use this. It ended last October, November with a little bit of efforts. And for Margot, basically, some entities cannot collect enough of funding to do the projects.
So what we did was, so that money was required by the structured agreement, settlement agreement between the state of Vermont and Entergy to use to supplement the Clean Energy Development Fund specifically for use in Windham County.
Yeah,
And so we use this to do modern wood heat systems in a number of schools and other public buildings. And but then the take rate just, especially as the oil prices started decreasing again, really, began to decline. And we did round after round, and a number of projects just kind of fell through. So all that money though still had to be used in Windham County. So what we did was that went back to the Clean Energy Development Fund, which is managed by the Department of Public Service, and they put it into it's the modern wood heat system that helps people upgrade their wood stoves to a more efficient wood stove. So it's still being used in the region. It has to by law. But that was the conclusion of our modern wood heat system for institutional buildings.
okay, so the money is actually in a place where it can be used.
Yep.
It does not go away.
Right.
No, but it
Okay.
properly went back to like Andy like managing the program for the state. It's all that all had to be used in Windham County.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
A new funding, we might inquire for energy planning, and so
What-
far,
So my question is, how do you define the term soft revenue?
might not happen. Happen,
Is that,
maybe
is
not
that a
happen.
Gatsby term?
Um,
Sorry.
probably not. Yeah, probably not. It's a
just-
wishing revenue.
Okay, okay.
We've done it. That's something that we've done for decades. It's just basically builds in a buffer saying we may not get that.
Got
that
it,
much.
got it.
Mhm.
I just never quite seen that term applied to that concept before.
EMPG actually decreased by, this 19%, 19.59%.
That's emergency management planning grant, and the
Yeah.
state, the federal government cut its nationwide by 10% for all states. And that translated into a 20 to 30% decrease for all the RPCs, because the state generally supports emergency planning using exclusively federal funds. They don't put a lot of state funding into it. So they had to pay their costs out first, which meant a bigger cut for us.
Lucky us.
HMGP also something new, will appear for 5 years, and this is an estimate for this year so far.
And what does that stand for?
Hazard mitigation grant program. So this is we got additional funding through Vermont Emergency Management to help towns apply for hazard mitigation grants using this one-time 90 million funding that was kind of by formula came to the state as a result of last July's disasters. But
Okay,
any town, whether you had significant impacts in July or not, can qualify for it. And importantly, the legislature this year is going to provide the full local match. So it's rare 100% funding.
oh, good.
And so like for you, and we're, in Wilmington, we're talking to Scott and others about like accessing the Sitsmark property to restore floodplain access there.
Oh, no more golf course?
Well, I guess they might be able to start the golf course, but you couldn't build houses on it.
Well, it's in a floodplain anyway, so you can't.
Well,
build-
exactly, and that's the point, is try to improve, get more of the flood water there as opposed to in
Yeah.
downtown Wilmington.
Let me diverge just for 1 second, and that has to do with the fact that AOT is indeed planning to replace the bridge in the middle of town. We had
Right.
quite a good meeting with them a little while ago. I don't remember whether you folks were at that meeting or not, but
Mhm.
are you guys gonna be involved in that at all?
Yeah,
think?
yeah. Colin Bratton, our transportation planner, he's already been involved. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, we can move on to expenses. Just overall, we have one new line over here I highlighted. And we are separating all memberships that are not pertain to the staff needs, conferences, training and memberships will be separate for 4,500. And the rest of organizations like VAPTA, you know, bigger memberships will sit separately over here. So this 4,500
That's to break that out.
is an increase. Yeah, so we broke it down. And another bigger
And
change.
Before you got too, oh, okay, you got insurance down there. Okay, good. Sorry.
Insurance, you said?
Yeah, just, I don't know if you all saw, Vanessa, what
Oh,
Milton did you make
yep.
about cost
Yeah.
for health insurance?
So in personnel, I built it increased by 10.5% for health insurance premiums. But right now we are not sure. We might be higher than that. So we'll see. We are with the group. It's like a co-op. So hopefully our pricing will be a little bit, you know, protected. I'm not sure. I don't know what's gonna be happening. So we'll see.
But I think we have the bandwidth to cover it if we need to.
Right. So we separated last year, we separated Weimer's retirement. If you remember, we had to do an exercise of, you know, presenting with the new hire plan for the Weimer's Group B. And some people joined, some people not, which actually has less impact on our budget because not everybody moved to this plan. The Group B overall has over 13% of contribution. And we are asking this year, starting July 1st, people who would like to move to that group contribute a little bit from their paycheck. So we have 2%, 2.38% of contribution from the employee. The rest is covered by the employer. And those who stayed with the Group A, we cover everything, and that is a total of 9% from the employee and employer contribution. So that's what's going on with the Weimers here. In French, we have 10% of increase, and dental probably will increase. I'm not sure, maybe a little bit. And in salaries, we actually still able to have 50,000 put aside for graduate intern work.
That's in addition to the person we hired.
Yeah.
That also gives us a little bit of a buffer, in case, like if the health insurance does boost up to the 20% that they're asking for, that'll give us a little bit more that we can, you know, tap into if we have to. But the plan is, though, to use that for either graduate assistant or working with universities to continue to support some work that we're doing.
Yeah. So rent will come up probably 2-3%. And the rest is we keeping a little bit low for the equipment. Hopefully equipment would not need any much of
We've
that.
replaced everything pretty recently.
So. Yeah. So the other lines, you know, you can see pretty much stayed the same.
Yeah.
So here's the rent increase, utilities. So anyway, everything has a little bit of a cushion here and there, you know, according to expenses, and then a little bit of a bump, a little bit.
And one other thing, we're assuming, I may have missed it, Vanessa, we're assuming 3% basically cost of living adjustment across the board for staff. Slightly more for Lisa Donnelly, who's our planning technician. She had asked us to hold her salary artificially low so that she could continue to get health insurance for her children. And so we're trying to catch her back up where she should rightfully be. We have a salary survey from the other RPCs, and so we based it on that. So we increased her salary a slight bit more than the 3%. One other thing to note, we're taking a very conservative approach. So with the $50,000 allocated for, you know, a graduate assistant intern, with the hiring of a for a potentially non-renewable employment term, and then we allocated, is it $30,000, Vanessa, for a special project? That's anticipated to be a
This one.
housing project. What we're doing is that is funding that we are that if funding at the level that we've received is not renewed for FY26, that's funding that can conceivably go away, if you know what I mean. So those are
Yep.
things that we don't have to renew, because I'm nervous about like the initial, the influx of the federal funding we've gotten. We're getting, there was kind of an inflated amount of state funding that we've gotten, not inflated, but you know what I mean, just one-time funds. And also just honestly not knowing what's going to happen in November and January. Who's going to be in control of Congress? Is everything going to, just what's going to happen? So we don't, and what we're already seeing, like with the cuts to the emergency management planning grant, I just wanted to build in a buffer anticipating possible cuts. And then if those don't manifest themselves, we're in great shape. But that's one of the reasons why we don't, like, in theory, we could benefit from hiring another full-time planner, not even a planning assistant. But I don't want somebody like uproot their lives, move here, and us to, a year later say we can't retain you. Especially like, Mike is still looking for a house more than a year and almost a year and a half later. Colin finally found an apartment as opposed to a room to rent in Brattleboro after 4 years. So we just have a lot of challenges, and I don't want to overstaff us and then wind up having to do like layoffs or anything. I don't think that's responsible. So just FYI, that's the thinking behind the
Yep.
budget structure.
Thank you. That's good.
Chris, I just noticed a slight mistake here. So in hazard mitigation, I doubled. So here's the abbreviation for 8,500, and here's a spell out hazard mitigation for the same. So it reads the same cell, the same source, so it's doubled. So I removed on my Excel spreadsheet, and I have bottom line is $19,045
Okay.
compared to 27. So 19,000 will be the bottom line positive. So I
And
gotta,
I would anticipate for FY25, if anything, we're apt to see additional funding as opposed to less funding.
Mhm.
I have no idea from where, but just with the latest disaster, even though it didn't affect our region, there may just be additional resources coming into the state. And then we'll see what else comes out of all the new Act 250 reform stuff. And I can't really answer many questions about the Act 250 reform stuff because it's a little more than a month old, and it is a big, complex bill, and we're all still trying to get our heads around it.
Yeah.
So all the
You
different
got-
structures and
got it.
everything the bill creates are just now getting created.
So Anessa, can I ask you a question about the format you're using? I'm noticing something I actually didn't notice as I was reviewing it.
Mhm.
But I have never before seen a program where the backup sheets are listed across the top, across the bottom, way up at the top here. No.
Up at the top.
Yep,
That's up at the very, very top.
at the very, very top.
Of my, you mean this?
Yes.
Oh, those are other PDFs that I have open currently.
Oh, okay. So it
This
doesn't have it.
is just,
They're
yeah,
not backup documents to this.
no.
Oh,
It,
okay.
it's just,
All right. Got it.
I worked on this billing and
Okay.
you're paying attention.
Uh,
So this is what we just went through, and that's our document. Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, what I did, I work with my Excel and then I highlight the area and go to print as a
So all of
PDF
this,
and
all
save
of
it.
this is in Excel
Yeah.
which you have saved as a PDF.
Right, just the sheet, just the area that I need. Yep.
Yes, got it, got it.
Yep. Yep. So anyway, I have to change this bottom line a little bit. I'm sorry. I'm glad we went line by line. How many times I went line by line? Looking at the same Excel spreadsheet for so long and anyway. So I think that's about it that I need to report. And I think Chris made good comments and
Yep.
explanations.
Thank
So
you
if
very
you
much for that, both of you.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions or comments.
The only question I have is, I'm hearing some horror stories about future health insurance increases.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder whether the money you've got plugged in will be enough.
Mm.
Tim, that's what I was explaining that. So we assumed a 10% increase. I know they're asking for 20. We don't know if they'll get it. But what I was saying was, like, once we know, when the Green Mountain Care Board makes their decision, if they're going to support that increase. Well, that's the hospitals are asking for an increase, right? It's not insurance.
Actually, this morning's Vermont Digger did say that the Blues were looking for
Yes, I saw that.
21 for individual plans and 24 for the small group.
Yep.
Got it. Right. So the idea is, by the time we know that, we can take that money from that graduate intern line.
Yep.
So it's not like that's a slush fund, but obviously we have all the latitude we want with that $50,000 we set aside. So if need be, we'll pull it out of that or something else. But that's the obvious one. There's also that special $30,000 project that we're thinking about for, like, another multi-town housing planning discussion.
Yeah.
So we have places where we can pull that from if necessary.
Well, I just want to be sure. I mean, any budget has flexibility, obviously, but I wanted to get a sense of that from you. Good.
Yeah, I just changed to 20%, 20.5, and my bottom line is 11,000 positive. Not everybody goes through our plan, and we also go we count from October to December, and then the whole new year is a new rates. So we're lagging behind 3 months.
Okay.
So anyway, I'm not gonna change that right now.
I don't take any more questions you guys have, but I guess the request would be, would you support us for, would you support taking this to the executive board for their consideration, and then subsequent to them taking it to full commission?
I move that we support this budget being taken to the executive committee and the full board.
And I would second that, making note that I will be glad to make the motion at the executive board meeting on the 12th.
Great, thank you. Please make note of that, and that's up in the minutes.
Yep. And please, the bottom line would be a little bit different.
Okay.
Will be
And so you-
so you both know that-
19,000.
Just as a reminder, what we always tell the executive board and is that, like, even once they review and approve it, that, like, in those weeks between their meeting and the full commission, we may become aware of some other tweak. Obviously, if it's a major difference, we would report that, but it's possible we'll learn about another $8,000 municipal project or municipal technical, something,
Yeah.
So obviously, nothing is going to affect the budget in a big way. Anything that affects the budget in a big way, we'd want to bring it back. We'd want to have a special meeting of the executive board.
Well, budgets, especially proposed budgets, are living documents.
Right.
Things will change.
Yes, sir.
Actually, Sue mentioned this morning to me about Putney. We just saw this right here. So this Town of Putney agreement came July 11th, 2024 through next November, and the amount will be 50 something thousand, 50. Oh, where did I see it? So that would be in addition well, somewhere was over here,
Yeah,
54.
there you go.
So maybe, divide that in two roughly this year and, well, pretty much next year, the whole thing. So that's an addition.
All right.
Here we go. We solved it.
All right.
Okay, great. Does anybody have anything else for this meeting?
And
If
I'm
not,
gonna be, and so you both know, I'm gonna be, and I think, Tim has let folk know that he wants to retire as a commissioner, go through, next town meeting, right, Tim?
yes, I am not running for town clerk, and I've told my select board and administrator that I will not be seeking another reappointment for Wyndham Regional as well.
So one of my tasks for today is I'm drafting a nominations letter to go out from Gabby to the full commission. And one of the things we're specifically going to say is we really need additional members on the finance committee. Even if, and even if they don't have financial experience, financial interests. It's a good opportunity to learn, even if you're not an expert. And same thing for exec board, any, nominations for somebody who would be willing to serve as secretary treasurer. So just want to let you guys know that we're cognizant of that, and that we're going to make a special appeal in the nominations for that.
And I
Good.
just want to put my hand up and say, Tim, it's been great working with you again.
Well,
And
it's been great
another-
working with you again, Ann, and as they say, the only thing that is constant about change is that it does change.
It does indeed. So Chris, as you're going through all of this, please bear in mind, I do not want to be the chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Not in my wheelhouse.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm very happy to stay on the committee, but
That's great. We appreciate that. But no,
Thank
we'll, and we're going to try. I'm going to go through also the commissioner profiles and see if I can find anybody with a specific skill set, even if they're relatively new. It'd be, yeah. So, all
Well,
right.
even I could be trained, Chris, so I think that.
No, and really appreciate you stepping up and stepping in when you did, Tim. That was very helpful.
Glad to do it.
Yeah. Thank you to
All right,
both of you. Yeah.
So I'm going to take Ann's motion to adjourn. How's
Thank
that
you.
for being direct?
So
I
12,
like that. That's what I like
12:42.
about you, Tim.
Thank you all. Meeting adjourned as of 12:45 p.m. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.